Yeah, my name's Ian Wieczorek. I'm a visual artist working in the west of Ireland, like the best of us are. I work in a number of different disciplines. Painting, I suppose, is where I originally kind of started. I did a GMIT course in Castlebar from, I think it was 2002 to 2008. And it kind of changed my life. It was a rather wonderful thing. And at the age of 40, I suddenly realized that art is what I was supposed to be doing all the way along. And so picked it up from there and just ran with it. Since then, I've done a bit of video work, I've done installation work, I've done some curation as well. And yeah, it's all ongoing. Yeah, I suppose we came to the west of Ireland in 1992, and we sort of latched into the whole Linenhall kind of ethos very, very quickly, the warm welcomes, and then it was our go-to place. We'd come from London, so we were kind of used to having a lot of culture around, and I think coming to the west of Ireland, we sort of braced ourselves for the fact that it might not be as easy to access as it had been. And in fact, we were thrilled to find the Linenhall. We discovered it very, very quickly. And as I say, between the warm welcomes, we got all we could have hoped for and more. It was just a wonderful experience. And so that was how I got to know the Linenhall and what it was doing. I'd started an arts magazine called Arts West Magazine. And so because of that, my relationship with the Linenhall got closer, because obviously part of it was to review, to interview and whatever. The Linenhall facilitated me fantastically. I was delighted to be working with them and vice versa. I mean, there was great joy going into the Linenhall absolutely every day. It's a small organic group of people. They're all very can-do people. It's very democratic. It was a very democratic place, and just a great sense of fun, and the fact that we were all working towards something that was, I think, very beneficial for the community and to the artists and everyone else. Just a real joy. And every week was different. Every week there was something new. Every week there was, it was a real kind of hotbed of ideas and problem solving, and how to make something really good using very little in the way of resources or anything like that. It was just a joy from that point of view, and just having that connection with the local community and with the wider arts community. It's just a real privilege to be part of. I had a solo show, which was work based on, I suppose, based on the Gulf War. That's what it turned out to be. But it was the start of my kind of work using digital imagery from the internet. I mean, I devised a whole bunch of curated projects. Did one for Rula Bula, and then we did a number of them, just taking advantage of the spaces that were around the place, and ending up doing the Cabinet of Wonders, which had 6 different iterations and involved a whole bunch of artists internationally as well as locally. And that seemed to catch the imagination. It was a take on the Cabinet of Curiosities that a lot of privileged people used to have in the past. It was a very sort of upper class thing where people try to redefine the world using everything they could find around them. And it was a very democratic kind of process of discovery and empiricism, which was just lovely. And as I say, it seems to have caught people's imaginations. Actually, when Joe Biden came visiting, which he did to the Linenhall, it was one of the things that he seemed to be quite engaged by, apparently. So yeah, that was one of the nice things about the Linenhall. It gave you the opportunity to use the place as a laboratory. And it's funny because, I mean, to me, the idea of it caught people's imaginations, I think, even more than the reality of it. It's so funny. I'm like, you know, there were pieces in the local paper and stuff, and it was like, yeah, and artists were getting on to me and saying, God, that's just such a lovely idea. And if you look on the WordPress site, each iteration of this thing, there is a kind of there's an acknowledgement of the underlying kind of things that drive it. So and that was really good fun. Like it felt desperate sometimes, but when it came together, it was like, yep, that's it. This works. And there was some lovely work by a lot of interesting people.
Ultimately, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to have worked for 20 years as part of the brilliant Linenhall team, and for the support and opportunities it's given me as a professional artist. Here's to its continued success.